Good morning. This is David Alvaro for Pharma's Almanac. The crew and I are here today in Montgomeryville, Pennsylvania, exploring the future of healthcare on the road to 2021. We're joined today by Josh Russell, Vice President of Sales and Marketing for AES Clean Technology. Josh, thanks so much for spending some time to speak with me today.
Absolutely. Hi, David. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
So I believe we're socially distant enough now we can take our masks off and
Let's do it.
proceed with the interview. So Josh, what can you tell me about how clean rooms and related technologies are evolving along with new therapeutic molecules and modalities?
Isn't it amazing how quickly science changes and just all these smart scientists out there in the world that are finding new ways to really target and treat really acute diseases in this day and age. And we're seeing that it's actually having a dramatic effect in a number of different ways on our clean room technologies and the solutions that we offer. In particular, when we think about some of the newer modalities like allogeneic and autologous cell and gene therapy. For autologous, for instance, when it's patient-specific therapies, we're taking products from patients, we're processing individually, and then we're bringing that patient product back to the patient. One's got to think, wow, we have to make sure that, one, the scale and size of the product that's being produced is really small. And so, in effect, the clean room necessary to produce that material is very small as well. And so the envelope that's required for that type of operation tends to be smaller in nature, right? Obviously. And then there's a lot of procedural controls in place that the clean room, in terms of automation, how people get in and out, exit, really have to be taken into considered and be very careful with, because you want to make sure that there's no contamination and there's no possible means of one patient's material getting to another patient's material, right? So cross-contamination is key, segregation is key, and obviously, without saying, sterility assurance is absolutely necessary. The facilities themselves, you hear the old saying that, form follows function. It's really, I think, one of the key differences with AES is that we have a lot of process architects within the facility that speak the scientists speak, so as I say, and understand the process and be able to generate and design these controls in the architectural design to ensure that the proper protections are in place. And at the end of the day, they have a facility that operates efficiently for them and meets the regulatory scrutiny that's necessary in the industry.
So do you think the industry is starting to reach a new consensus on when it's appropriate to use single-use technology and when it's better to use a conventional clean room? And where does maybe AES stand in that conversation?
Yeah, no, I mean, again, the technology is not just the science of, the drug products that are going to these patients are evolving and changing, but so are the technologies that are using to produce and manufacture these products, right? And so we're definitely seeing an upward trend or almost an industry-wide adoption for single-use technologies. The day and age where we need, 20, 50,000 liter bioreactors that are big stainless multi-story vessels are really becoming a thing of the past. For large scale bulk drug manufacturing, it has its place, but with these newer modalities, we're seeing that the titers and yields of these processes are increasing significantly. And so the needs for these huge stainless steel bioreactors, skids, and processing vessels just aren't really necessary anymore. So we're seeing, 1,000 liter, 500 liter single-use bioreactors becoming widely used and adopted. How does that relate to the clean room facilities? Well, as you talk about traditional facilities, we're seeing that the industry is really leaning away from kind of traditional methods of construction for clean room designs. So less what I like to call dry mold or drywall, right? I tell people, like, why do you say dry mold? Well, it's only a time till it gets wet and then it just becomes mold, right? Those type of facilities, people are recognizing that, that's an old technology. We want something that is going to ensure quality into our facility and give us long-term robustness. And so people are gravitating more and more towards modular execution, not just for being able to have a very durable, long-lasting facility, but also be able to quickly execute in bringing these drug products to market. And modular execution, design build approaches really yield those benefits that they're looking for on getting their products and achieving speed to market.
So Josh, modular design seems to present a sort of best of both worlds scenario in which it allows you to accelerate the design build process, but at the same time, there's a wide range of customization options that you can tailor directly to a customer's needs. Can you tell me a little bit about how all that plays out with the work that you do at AES?
I think sometimes there's a misconception that with modular panels you can't really you're hamstrung, so to speak, in certain confines because the panel's a certain width, certain height, and that's just not true. We have the ability to absolutely use standard panel options, but we have the ability to also make different size width panels, different height panels. We also have the ability to make modifications in the field, very similar to what you would see with a traditional stick-built facility.
So Josh, if we look even farther forward into the maybe more distant future of healthcare, 2030, 2040, maybe even beyond that, how do you see clean rooms looking by that time, and how do you see AES position then?
If I was to get in my time machine and go that far forward in the future, what I would envision is that, again, these patient-centric, patient-driven therapeutics are going to dominate the market, right? And so how do we deliver things that are targeted for individuals? And I would probably liken it to what AES is doing today for a lot of these smaller pharmacies that tend to be more local, right? Is I see clean rooms being more to where the patients are, maybe more in the hospitals, maybe more outpatient centers where these therapeutics are being produced and then distributed and administered at a more community level. And so I see AES being a huge player in that market where we actually see maybe more clean rooms, but maybe clean rooms that are not at maybe a grade B or grade C level, but more of a grade D level, because the technologies that are being used to produce these smaller batches of materials are more like closed, used in isolators, and produced in very safe manners for these patients, but can be done so in a very quickly and effective manner. And the other added benefit to that is you can get these products to patients in a more timely means, right? You're delivering on the promise of sterility assurance. And then also bringing down the cost, right? Is we're really kind of liberalizing and making these therapeutics more widely and broadly available to the general population, which is a real challenge today. I've had the opportunity to watch some of these cell and gene therapies being produced, and it's amazing the amount of time and amount of materials that are being produced, and you can understand why it costs so much. But I think that as they refine their processes, refine the techniques, that these are going to be much more widely available to the population at a much more affordable cost in our individual communities, and I know AES will be a part of that.
Well, Josh, thanks again for joining us today on the road to 2021 and discussing how you and AES view the future of healthcare.
Yeah, David, thank you so much for coming down and having this conversation with us. It's been great, and I really hope that we can do this again.
Absolutely. Thanks.